going back to bodybuilding, how you choose to use this, in my opinion, plays the biggest part on whether or not it's going to be beneficial for bodybuilding. In my opinion, I don't think smoking is beneficial for bodybuilding. It suppresses your VO2 max, it decreases the amount of oxygen uptake, which then in turn would enable the body's ability to get rid of toxins and store fat. Overall, inhaling smoke just isn't good. It can irritate the lung lining, creating the cilia to create more mucus, in which case it can be irritating, and that inflammation internally can also reflect on making you retain water. Some people have associated this with estrogen, saying that marijuana raises estrogen. Now, marijuana in prepubescent or adolescent children does create a hormonal disruption. So in teenagers or prepubescent adolescents or kids, children, if they're using marijuana, it disrupts the natural endocrine system's ability to censor the amount of estrogen that the body's producing from the testosterone. So in other words, it disrupts things and it doesn't allow the body to stop aromatization. It doesn't create estrogen in itself, but it complicates things with the natural body's growing and developing, and it kind of, in a way, your natural anti-estrogen as you're growing up, which we all have, that's why all of us don't get gyno, it prevents that. And so when it prevents that, some kids that are using it get gyno, and so some people think that estrogen raises from marijuana. There's also pesticides on some marijuana that definitely can raise your estrogen. However, THC in itself has no effect on estrogen. The studies actually show that it decreased estrogen. So I will say it has no effect on estrogen whatsoever. Now, let's go to, now we're not smoking it. We want to know if it can still be beneficial for bodybuilders who do not have chronic pain and are not using medical marijuana. Recreational marijuana for bodybuilders not smoking. Eating it or vaping it, can it be beneficial? In my opinion, it depends on the person. But I have found that it can be beneficial. And I'm not encouraging you guys to go out there and try it, because you would have to first decide how you feel on it. So when you do that, the safest way to do that is be at home, try it, see how you feel, assess the situation the next morning on a clear head. Maybe take notes on how you feel while you're on it at night, and then determine whether or not it's something for you. It may not be for you, okay? Caffeine is not for everybody. Works great for some it doesn't. So it's one of those things to understand that marijuana can work beneficially for you, because if you, for example, if you're one of those people that train and you use a very, very fast speed, okay, you're more likely to be more consciously aware of what you're doing when you're working out if you're under the influence of marijuana. The psychotropic part in that aspect, if you use it to your advantage, okay, it can be used to almost critique your own workout. So as you're doing each repetition, you're more consciously aware of it and you're slowing down to really, really feel it more. And it's proven. A lot of people, not just me, say this. They've done it. They say it too. So this is the reason why I'm talking about it, because a lot of people want my opinion on whether or not this is true, whether or not it can be, and what's the best way to do it. Now, if you're going to attempt to try this, my first recommendation is decide whether or not you want to use a vape, which is very fast acting. It comes on very quickly, but it also goes away very quickly. But it can also irritate your lungs. And if you do use a vape, you need to make sure it has no additives in it that are synthetic. The only thing that should make it more viscous, is more terpenes. Okay, so they can use a distillate and they can use the artificial flavor. I don't like that. They can use a distillate and use natural terpenes to flavor. That's okay. or they can use a live resin extract and they can use terpenes to make it more viscous for a cartridge. I like that. And I'll discuss those different terms and what they all mean in another video if I hear the response from this, and if you guys want to hear more about the different types of THC concentrates going from shatter, crumble, wax, all the way to live resin, rosin, sugar. There's also drinks. There's patches. There's inhalers. There's tinctures. There's pretty much everything you can possibly imagine. There's even marijuana that you put on female genitalia for sexual stimulation. And if you guys want to hear more about that, I'll do another video on that. But orally, the dose that's recommended in Colorado for starting off is 10 milligrams. That's a starting recreational dose. They found that it's usually not too strong, and it pretty much is a safe dose. 10 milligrams, and then I would move up in 10 milligram increments, but I wouldn't do it the same day. So you start with a 10 milligram dose one day, commit to not doing any more than that. If you don't feel it, that's fine. Don't take any more, just 10. If you don't feel it, that's fine. If you do feel it, take notes on how you feel. The following day, if the 10 milligrams the first day was not sufficient, and in most cases it may not be, okay, take 20 milligrams. Do not take 30. Again, take notes. If it's not sufficient, then go to 30 the third day. In Colorado, everything is broken down and everything is tested, whether it's a dose of a piece of a cookie or whether it's a piece of a chocolate or whether it's a pill or a capsule. It's going to be 10 milligrams for recreational use, so you can go up 10 milligrams each one. I don't recommend taking edibles unless they're tested and unless you know what the strength is. And with edibles, unless you know your tolerance, you're better getting a weaker strength than a stronger strength. And because we're trying to use it to work out with, and we're not trying to just get high and watch movies and stuff like that, then you really want to play it slow, steady, and make sure that you don't cross the threshold to where it's now recreational. It's taking more control over you than you want it to, and you can't focus on a workout because mentally you can't pull it together because you're high. Okay? You don't really want to work out like that. If you're in the gym and your mentality is already you're high, it's not safe to be working out. It's not. You may hurt yourself, and if anything, you're definitely going to be a distraction. Do yourself a favor and stay home if you're that high. Now, going back to what I was saying by raising things up in 10 milligram increments, that's how you're going to do it if you're going to take an oral. And if you take it at night and you find out what your good starting dose is, then try that earlier in the day. You should know by experimenting with it in the evening when you don't have to drive and you're home, okay? Whether it takes over you and you want to order pizza and you don't have control over yourself and you can't stick to your diet, then it's not for you. Don't do it, okay? The same as if you drink alcohol and you can't stop drinking. It's not for you. Don't do it, okay? Now, if you're doing it and you realize that you have control over yourself, you can eat your diet, you may be a little bit hungrier, that's fine. It does improve digestion, so that's a good thing. And if you do need to eat a little sooner, that's fine, but as long as you have the control over not eating food that you shouldn't eat, and if you're hungrier, maybe a little bit more protein or a little bit more vegetables or something like that, again, always maintaining mental control. If you keep mental control, then you're not high. Okay, when you're high, that's when you don't have any more mental control. You can't stop laughing, you can't control what you want to eat, you just can't control your thought process. Your thought process has control over you. Understand your threshold, and also understand that you can use the two in conjunction. You can use the two together, the vape and the oral. So now, assuming that you've done about a week's worth of testing on yourself to find out what the proper dose is for you, now you will, I don't recommend driving on it. because that's illegal. But assuming your training partner is going to drive you to the gym, or you happen to mysteriously levitate there, so just leave the automobile out of it. Once you're at the gym, okay, you may feel as if you need to increase, but you still don't want to get high, but you feel like you could use just a little bit more mental clarity. Again, it's a fine line with marijuana. You know, a little bit of it can give you some mental clarity. It can actually maybe help you in social situations. It can relieve anxiety. It can be great. A little bit too much, and then you're high, and then a little bit more than that, and you're asleep. So it's kind of a tough call. Now, if you're using it throughout the day, by the evening, you could just take a little bit more, and then you're going to get a good night's sleep, and it'll be gone by the time you wake up in the morning, and you should wake up with a good appetite. And so that could be a part of your routine, as long as it's not, again, you're not getting high from it, because at that point it's not being beneficial. Okay. If you wanted to mix the two, then this would be your time to take a couple of inhalations off of a vape pen, assuming that, again, you already know the strength of it and you know what each inhalation would do. You want to make sure that the quality of the substance inside of that cartridge is of a high quality. Again, doesn't have any artificial thinners in it, P2P, PEG, any of those things like that. Even coconut oil, it's okay, but they can use natural plant terpenes, so that works the best. In the different varieties of marijuana, we'll do a video on that separately if you guys are interested in knowing the difference between the drink versus the patch, or a cookie versus a capsule. And now CBD, okay, CBD, which is from hemp, it works great as an anti-inflammatory. Very, very good as an anti-inflammatory. I'd say probably one of the best things that it does, and it also works great with digestion, your gut health, gut inflammation. It's a powerful antioxidant. There's a lot of value CBD has that would be better after the workout. Okay, it doesn't have a painkiller effect to it, but it has a great anti-inflammation effect to it, which would come in handy towards the evening. And if you take CBD towards the evening, then it will reduce the psychoactive effect of the THC that was in you during the day, and the synergistic effect of the two should create an environment which allows you to get better sleep. So that's kind of the benefit of adding CBD in towards the evening, and sometime about an hour and a half after the workout is a good time to add in a little bit of CBD. So this is how you use marijuana to your advantage in bodybuilding, okay? In my opinion, the THC or the CBD themselves don't make you retain any water. It's what they're extracted with, if there's some solvents left in it still, or if they cut it when they put it in the cartridge or when they put it in the capsule. If you're eating a cookie that has sugar in it, or artificial flavors, or a soda or something like that with artificial colors and flavors, you already know. But if you're not, and you're getting it in its raw form in a capsule without any flavors or artificial sweeteners in it, and you're getting the right type of cartridge that doesn't have any additives that are synthetic, and you're using plant terpenes for making it more viscous so you can inhale it, these are better for you, and they're not going to cause cancer, and they're not going to make you hold water, they're not going to raise estrogen or any of that stuff. Safe bet. Experiment with low doses. Guru Ameen here. Thanks again. Until next time.